Welcome back to another episode of Pushing Back Chaos with me, Paul Melon McFadden, joined by my usual partner, Mike. How you going there, Mike?
I would like to say usual podcast host, not partner. I don't want to seem weird, but it just came off the wrong way. Melon, I appreciate you. I love you. You're like my brother, but let's just watch the verbiage.
And I'm here in sunny downtown Riyadh. Got a bit of pool background, having a bit of a relax on a weekend. We're joined by one of our contributors who comes on from time to time, my mate Simon, 17-year veteran of the Australian Army, then transferred into a variety of roles overseas, one of which was the Women's Auxiliary Balloon Corps, and he joins us with insights and wisdom. How you going there, Simon? Welcome.
Good afternoon, Melon. And I'd like to say good afternoon to my fellow host, Mike.
See how he did that? You took a shot at him, and then he responded professionally and then said the right way. So I appreciate you, Simon. Thank you.
The first time for everything. So how have you been, mate? What's been going down for you in the last week?
A lot of things, man. Mostly stuff. Physical health. I might be out of action for a little bit. Potentially 1 month, potentially up to 6 months if surgery is needed, but I'm not going to get into all that yet. I'm going to see what tests come back and MRIs and stuff like that, and then we'll go from there. But I'm trying to stay positive. Either way, it's not ideal. It's absolutely not what I wanted to happen. But what was it, a couple episodes ago? The cards were dealt versus the cards we wanted. And lots of discussions with you and some other close mates, and also a lot of praying. And it's one of those things that I think that maybe it's just God kind of grabbing me and slowing me down because he wants me to see something. He's going to put me into a new season or a new part of my life. And instead of fighting it, I just want to do everything I can, and that's all I can do, and then just be willing to accept whatever comes down. And I'm going to be good either way, because I do a lot of praying for stuff outside of my job, and I know he hears me. And let's be honest, guys like us, if nobody would stop us, I don't think anybody would stop us. We're going to figure out a way to keep going forward. We're going to figure out a way like, no, I'm fine. I can deal with it. I can take it. And you just keep going and going and going. And let's be honest, is sometimes I think it could be to our own detriment, making the injury worse or the situation worse where, it's not what we should be doing. So I'm going to kind of look at it as, all right, this is just a pit stop. I need to get assessed, see what's going on, because I'm moving forward regardless. It's just how I move forward. So I would say that's the biggest one lately, man. But
I think that's a really positive way to frame it, Mike. I mean, Simon and I both had a few injuries over the years. Both of us have played a lot of rugby, and any sort of a role. Obviously, what you do for a living, very, very physical role, is going to take its toll on the human body. But the right mental attitude and the right people around you, and taking the time to do the work, I've seen amazing recoveries. I've seen myself come back from injuries and all the rest of it, and I have no doubt that you'll find your way through this and you get the best possible outcome from where you start. And you're going to be putting into action exactly the stuff that we talk about 100% there with playing the cards you dealt, and you're just going to get on with it. I know that you'll do that and you'll find your way through.
Yeah, I'll be all right, man. I got a good circle. I got good people, good support. And like I said, man, I think I know God has my back in it. It's all part of it. So it's all good. It's all good.
It's a bit of a shift in gears there. So sort of taking a bit of time to process what's going on there is leading into the topic that we decided we'd talk about on this episode, which is, what are you waiting for? what are you waiting for? We all need to make time to celebrate success. And this can be applied into our personal lives, it can be in our primary relationships with our spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, etc. Family situations with your kids, your parents, extended family, professionally or in sporting teams. So there's a lot of us grinding away every day, pushing on for the next objective or the next goal or the next paycheck or whatever it is, the next round of sport, who you're going to play. And you can get out and get after it. And then sometimes we just, you crest that ridge and it's always like, well, what's the next thing? And we're talking here about having sustainable success that's going to continue on out into the future. And in the West, I think all of us can have that mission focus, and it's always just looking on to the next target, the next target, the next target. And there's a lot of stuff that you can miss when you don't take the time you don't make the time to celebrate success. And I think a lot of us can find we're in a position of, what are we waiting for here? Like what success will we celebrate?
Yes, absolutely. I know there's a stigma in elite communities where perfection is key. And if you don't hit the mark of perfection every time, it's, oh no, you messed this up and you're going to do it again. You're going to do it again. It's just like, hey man, I think that was pretty good. And we've been grinding at this for days, weeks, months, whatever. And I don't care who you are. Everybody likes to feel appreciated. Everybody's work, everybody's commitment, like whatever it is you're in, whether it's work, a relationship, family, a team sport, it can be anything. Everybody wants to be acknowledged for the hard work that they put in because they're sacrificing something else. They're sacrificing time with their family, time doing other things with their friends or doing whatever. They believe in it so much. And when you hit this mark, it's, I think it's double side of the coin. You have people that are like, hey, you need to celebrate this. Like, you work so hard for this. You don't see this, like, you've done amazing things. You've been part of amazing things. You can do this, you can do that. You need to stop and celebrate. Like, this is a good time in life to be happy, and then the other side of the coin is, hey, shut up, be humble, keep working. You're nobody. Everybody's done what you've done. Just keep going, keep grinding. And it's like this, like, yeah, I get it. And then you move forward and you're kind of like, man, there's no joy in this. There's no there's no spike. There's no roller coaster ride in this. It's not like, oh man, this is great. And I feel like I'm part of something special and everybody appreciates the work that I'm doing or that we're doing. And it's kind of this, this high. And you have those people that just kill on it because they take it so damn serious. And like Melon said, I think at the end is, if you're not happy, if you're not celebrating life and victories and families and relationships and doing everything, then what the hell are you waiting for? I think that's a great question. What the hell are you waiting for? Are you waiting for a certain time, certain thing to happen? Because what just happened is pretty good. That's a good thing. Yeah. And if you let it slide, they're not unlimited, right? You're only going to get so many good days in your life. And who knows how long life is, right? But when the good days show up, man, grab them and enjoy them with the people that you love and that you care about, because it ain't going to last forever.
There can be a thing in elite sport, elite military units, for example, where perfectionism is seen as normal, but perfectionism and the pursuit of perfectionism, so perfect is the enemy of good. And there's a lot of stuff where output's going to suffer when you're grinding away for that last couple of percent, where if you're able to hit a solid 85 to 90% and then move on to the next task, the output of the unit, the output of the company, and certainly the morale is going to be higher. Whereas sometimes it can be seen that like celebrating something is like admitting that, well, this was good enough. And inside those units can be like, well, you know, why are you letting yourself down here? Like, that's not good enough to be celebrating. You know, it can be like a grind mentality rather than taking any time out. Like, I know this. Like, I've worked in a lot of units where there has been like zero celebrations. There's been massive milestones and achievements that you look back on later and you're like, yeah, that was awesome. But there was no one at the time patting anyone on the back or telling anyone they'd done a good job, and certainly no team acknowledgement. It was like, well, no, that's the expected output. You guys should have done that. So I think that there can be a stigma around celebrating success, and it can be in units or groups where they're holding themselves to high standard. I think you can have both. I think you can hold a high standard and have a really strong focus on like an elite focus, and you can still celebrate. I don't think it has to be mutually exclusive, but I've certainly been in places where I've seen a massive deficiency in any kind of celebration of success. Simon, you're going to jump in?
Yeah, Paul, I've experienced a similar environment as you've just touched on. The aversion to celebration of key milestones, outputs, achievements amongst individuals or teams. Often, you know, from in Australia, it's the tall poppy syndrome. But also there's in the elite, high performance kind of environments like yourself, Mike, I've seen people's fear of, they see it as taking their eye off the ball, you know, and then, you know, losing focus on the goal and something might happen. And it's that kind of self-perpetuating, you know, negative reinforcement of the role, mission, etc. at hand. But, yeah, as the question up front, what are you waiting for? You've got to celebrate everything with your family and with yourself as an individual. But as a collective, I think there's a balance you've got to strike where you don't celebrate everything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, mediocrity becomes the benchmark of success. You've got to get that fine balance to create that positive culture. Yeah, I think that's the key thing there.
I've never been in an organization where there's been that celebration of mediocrity, but I can understand immediately as soon as you said that phrase, it's like, yeah. You don't want to be out there patting each other on the back, you know, back slaps and high fives for mediocrity. But I've been in very few organizations when there's been public acknowledgement of achievement or team acknowledgement in a public way, which I think is, when I think about it, it's a massive deficiency. Because if we look at the positives that are going to come from the celebration of success, making the time to celebrate success as an individual or as a team, some of them are going to include that linking of the effort, linking of the process that you're undergoing with the success that you've achieved, like being able to stop at the goal and go, right, all that effort that we went through was to get to here, and getting that link so that as you move forward for the next goal, you're taking that motivation with you when the grind sets in and you're going to have to push through some hard sessions or whatever it is, get on the phone, make some cold calls for sales if that's your role or whatever it is, have those hard conversations with your kids, that you know you've just linked that behavior in the past with the success and the reward, and you're going to be more likely to have sustained success out in the future.
It's free positivity.
Yes.
Yeah, free positivity.
And what comes to mind is I sit there and think about, you know, okay, so we have this situation, say we have just some work group and, you know, your boss is driving everybody towards a goal, and he's really good at driving you towards the goal, right? His vision, the objectives that you want to accomplish, everything is good, is very clear. Everybody's been working for, let's say, you know, a year. It's pretty long, but we'll just say a year. And you finally get there and you hit your marks, you hit your goals, the mission's accomplished, you know, whatever it is. And the only problem is this leader doesn't know how to go about it, to say thank you, to celebrate it. You know, maybe they're not comfortable with public speaking. Maybe they're not comfortable with like showing another side of them because they've had to be this anchor for everybody the entire time. And I've seen it over my career. It's just, you have really good leaders, but when it comes time to like get down and in with the people, their social skills are dog shit. And it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like, hey man, don't take yourself so serious. Like, just smile once in a while. You know, it's okay to like be a normal dude. You know, and that's very realistic. So what I would say too is just, even if you recognize like, man, I really need to give my people a win. I need to let them win. I need to let them feel successful, that their contributions have been worth it. If you can't do it, get somebody else to do it. Let go of the reins a little bit, hire somebody that's down and in, that has that ability. Maybe even, it's like an outside party planner or something like that. And it's just like, hey, I suck at this and I know it. I don't know what to do, but I want to make sure my people feel appreciated, that they win today, that they feel like, they're part of something special, and that I care about them, that we care about them, that the company or the group cares about them, and we're going to celebrate our victories. So you help me out and set up a party, set up an event, an awards thing, or recognize them, or a party, it could be anything. It shouldn't just have to be you if you're one of those people out there that are uncomfortable with being like, well, I can't run that. I don't know how to do that. I don't want people looking at me and be like, oh, look at him, he's soft, or he's this. It's like, that's fine, dude. If you can't get past that, just let somebody else do it and plan it for your people, because that's who really matter.
Great suggestion, because there are people who are really good at other aspects of leadership, but who are not going to be good in that public praise role. Mike, and like maybe it's in a family, maybe dad's more go, and mum's more reward and nurture and love. Not saying that that's the case, but it could be. It might be that just one of you is better at doing those things, and there's no slot on the person to be able to say, let's get someone else in. It's a great suggestion. In addition to that, linking of the effort and the process to the success, having the celebration of the success can make sure that it helps you in the setting of meaningful goals. So that you can take the time when you're setting the goal or you're celebrating the success to look forward at the next 6 months or 3 months or whatever the period is in front of you, to make sure that you're able to set value-aligned goals moving forward, so that the success doesn't be a destination, but it's part of a fulfilling journey. Like, it's a meaningful thing where I'm embarking on a multi-year project here, and then I'm going to set the next 6 month goal, and it's going to be a meaningful one that's going to mean something to us to achieve. And if you're not stopping to celebrate, if you're not, what are we waiting for, being the topic here, if you don't stop and celebrate the success and then think about, well, what's the next goal going to be, you can be drifting off pursuing stuff that's not important.
I'd assert that, go as far as say that helps you visualize those goals.
Yeah.
It makes it easier and more attainable. It just gets that positive momentum.
Yep. So the development of momentum that's going to have you push through when that grind comes. That's an excellent point, Simon. Have you got any observations there, Mike, around just that establishment or setting of the meaningful goals, taking that time to review values, having, you've just ticked something off, then looking forward at what's coming down the pipe and being able to say, these goals are ones that are going to align with my values. It could be in a relationship, it could be with your kids, it could be establishing homework routines, to have a musical performance. If someone in the family is a drummer and piano player like my daughter, it could be academics, it could be sport.
Well, one thing that really, obviously my work is a huge part of my life, and I've been doing it for so long. So I did this my last deployment, actually, and I never did this before because of the same stuff that we're talking about. For the first 15 years of my career, 13 years of my career at the time, it was get ready, train, deploy, come home, shut up, reload, train, deploy, shut up, reload, more missions, more time, and it just burned the shit out of me. And I didn't celebrate a lot. It's different. It's different for us because when we come home, like you see these videos of like all these people at the airports, and they're like standing there with flags and this big welcome home thing. That's not how it happens for us. We get home in the middle of the night, and we get out at a private airport, and no one's there. Like, there might be a couple onesies, twosies from like the command, and it's like, hey guys, welcome home, and cool. you go home, you get on a bus, you go back to your base, you get in your truck and you drive home. And that's your celebration. That's your welcome home. That's all the work that you just put in for 6 months and all the stuff you've seen and experienced. Then you come home and it's like straight to home. There's no like big celebratory, hey, you survived war. Hey, you survived this, you know? I mean, great.
Yeah.
You're with your family and stuff like that, but it's different for everybody. I'll just say that. So what kind of drove me a couple years ago before my last deployment was talking with Tony Sr. and a couple people, and it just made me realize it's like, dude, you need to like just celebrate because nothing's guaranteed. So what I did is I put a party together before my deployment and called it the pre-deployment party, and everybody was showing up there for me. Like everybody wanted to, you know, oh, we hope you come back safe and whatever. Yeah, I get it. But what I wanted to celebrate wasn't me. I wanted my family, my friends, and everybody that's close to me in my life all together in one spot. I hired a DJ, food. I put like a $500 bar tab down for everybody that showed up early. You know, I wanted to celebrate them and say thank you to them for supporting me. And I wanted them to feel like they were part of my career and the win, so to speak, because I couldn't do what I've been doing without them supporting me and allowing me to be gone and filling in for me when I was away for training or deployment. And they had to pick up my slack. They had to take the phone calls at night. They had to do everything. They had to help out with bills or running stuff around. And it was like they were part of it too. And I wanted to make them feel like they were part of my success, my story, my victory, however you want to view it. And it was one of the best times that I think we've had. I mean, there's people that still talk about, remember that party we had, man? Remember we were up in Pittsburgh and it was such a great time. All these good people were there and we all got to hang out. We all got to meet and it was just great. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to do that again. So before this upcoming deployment, I'm going to plan another party, have all all of my favorite people there, friends, family, whoever else. You guys are obviously invited and just going to have one hell of a time and celebrate life, celebrate that day, that point in my life and everything else. Because again, what am I waiting for after deployment? Like there's no guarantees. I'm not being morbid. It's reality, but, what the hell am I waiting for? That's the perfect time. Why not do it?
There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees for any of us. There's no guarantees of anything. No one knows the day or the minute of the hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, not to make light of it, you're in a role where that is more real or more possible than people who are working in an office. But this is another thing that's linked to the whole, what are you waiting for? That what are you waiting for? Like tomorrow's not promised to any of us. And you don't need to wait to win the Super Bowl to celebrate and let people know that you appreciate them. You know, like just a really small one. Like I know I'm in a bit of a lucky situation here. My wife, Cherry, every week when I come back from my base and come home, there's like a little, honestly, it's like a little ritual I freaking look for. I can't even tell you. The car pulls up in the driveway and I come in, the dogs go crazy. Typically, Annie's playing some music. She's on the piano or on the drums. And Cheza has sorted some delicious food. We come in, we sit and have like a debrief about what's happened with the family while I've been away and what was my week like and so on. And it's little, but it's a freaking reward. And I look forward to it. And like both of us get to feel like just that 1 week, there were goals that were achieved inside that week. And both of us feel acknowledged and that there's gratitude on the other side of the marriage for the efforts that have gone. I mean, it doesn't have to be big. They don't have to be big, and they don't have to be like quarterly or 6 monthly or annual. They can be little things with the people that count to go over the goals and the successes that count for those people. Some of the other notes I've got are around in this process of celebrating success, that out of that, an output out of that is increased resilience and perseverance. So when we've linked the progress to even the setbacks that we faced while we were on the pathway to that current goal, it arms us against the future difficulties we're going to face moving forward. So there's a whole resilience piece that can come, that you might be unnecessarily brittle when you engage that next setback, when you haven't been you haven't been in the practice of celebrating the success along the way and linking the effort and the difficulties and the setbacks. So this is like another area here. So resilience and perseverance going up for you, the individual, for you as the parent, for you, it could be a fitness program, it could be sticking to a diet, it could be 1,000 things that enhance resilience and perseverance from something small, a little process you can put in place to have successes along the way celebrated. You seen or experienced any of those in your past, Mike or Simon? I'll throw to you first there, Mike.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to Simon. I'm curious to hear kind of more where he's coming from with it.
So the question there is around the resilience and perseverance that you can develop from having milestones, little celebrations or big ones. Have you seen any of that in your past, or family, personal, fitness programs, team efforts?
Definitely. It forces you to, if you concentrate on celebrating the successes, I think a key part of that is reflecting on those challenges, as you spoke about, their setbacks. And I've definitely seen that in all facets of my life, both professionally and personally and sporting. I think, as I may have mentioned early on, when we do celebrate those successes, if you do it with your team, with your family, that positivity, they'll see it, or even in your workplace, others learn from that, kind of celebrating those milestones, those positive outcomes. And yeah, when you do it genuine and you do it for the right reasons, it helps grows I think it helps imbue a greater, more positive culture, team environment, and an effect on the home front. For me, challenges, for a number of years now, I've been working at distances from my family. And yeah, that itself brings a whole set of challenges, not too different from my fellow hosts. But yeah, like Melon, when I do go make it home, which will hopefully be next week, yeah, I'll celebrate that and then celebrate the time and the little things with my family. But equally, I reflect on the challenges I've had when I've been apart to really kind of savor, being in the moment. Yeah, as we said right up front, what are you waiting for? There's no excuse. Like what you can celebrate tomorrow, why can you not celebrate today?
So this is like particularly salient for me, and I'm actually writing notes here because this is what I'm going to be looking at doing next year when family return to Australia, and I'm likely to be out here for an extended period on my own. So have you got things that you do in between the trips home? Like, I know that you're not there all the time, and this is something you've got a lot of experience with now. Unfortunately, I guess in some ways, having to be distant from the family, such a lot. Are there, like, how have you done this in the past?
It's been through trial and error, that's for sure. And I think I touched on this on a previous episode, but it's all about setting in positive routines with my family, be it comm schedules, to use a military term.
Yeah.
But and trying to put in routines that fit around my wife and my girls, their day-to-day routines, and again, not getting frustrated when things don't line up and being flexible to make them feel they are the center of my world, and just to reinforce it to them. So routines have been key. And again, yes, parenting by Zoom, but celebrating those little moments, the water polo tournaments, the netballs, celebrating the close finishes, the second places, but just trying to make those celebrating what you can wherever you are. I think we were just showing that quote before by one of your great cohorts, Mike, Oprah Winfrey. I'm going to bring it up. I don't want to give it the justice. The more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is to celebrate. Wow.
Oprah says that it must be true.
That's chicken soup for the soul right there. No, I think that is, all joking aside, I think that is right. Yeah, it's that for yourself as well. That now becomes a positive habit that just good habits reinforce better habits.
Say it again. The more you celebrate, the more there is to celebrate.
I quote, the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate.
Okay. Laughing aside, that is a valid point. See what I did? See what I did there? We beat up on each other because it was Oprah, and then we're like, oh, that doesn't apply to me. I'm too much of a man. You know what I mean? but it's true, and we need people like that to remind us of that stuff because we get in our own way sometimes. We definitely do.
Yeah.
You know, I totally agree with it, and even more so speaking from myself. So I don't have a family. I live by myself. I go out and grind, and, you know, obviously my body takes a beating. I come home. Guess what? It's still quiet here. There's nobody to like go for a walk with or like doing things like that I want to. Celebrate by yourself too. Even if you're out there and you're listening, you're like, well, I don't have family. I don't have this. I don't have that. That's fine. Celebrate yourself. And it's hard to do. I struggle with it. You know, like I talked about in an episode where I've been driving the same truck for almost 12 years, 200,000 miles. And it's just like, hey, man, like, when are you getting a new truck? I'm like, I don't need a new truck. You know, I mean, I'm good. You know, I'm fine. It's like, no, dude, you should get yourself a new truck. Be good to yourself. Celebrate a little bit. You've been working for this long. You know, you have the money, you have the resources, you have the time. Like, dude, get something you enjoy, celebrate, live life, go on a road trip, do this, do this. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I think I need to keep working. I think I need to, you know, and it's just like, no. And you got the right people in the right place, and they shook me awake and like, hey, man, celebrate this. You deserve to be celebrating. This is too much work and pain and, you know, struggle or whatever, not to have a good side. It's like, man, you're right. So what I do, I went out and bought myself a new truck, you know, and I'm actually next week here in the US is Labor Day. And I have a long Labor Day weekend, and I'm sitting here thinking about doing a little road trip and celebrate myself and just get out and go drive and do a loop and hit some cool spots, take everything in and celebrate my labor, you know, like everybody else is. But
yeah.
You know, it's okay, and it's harder to do, but again, I would say that to the people out there who are like by themselves is celebrate yourself too. You have plenty to celebrate. Love yourself. Learn to appreciate things that you do, not just other people or other people to recognize. But if you're doing good things as a good person with the right reasons, you have every reason to celebrate. And if you don't, hit me up and I'll tell you why, because we all do.
Yeah, Simon's got a great point just to segue on there, what you've just said. Mike, jump in, Simon.
Yeah, it's when you celebrate yourselves and you're taking that time, don't be afraid to reach out to others and celebrate with your mates, your cohort, your peers. Keep an eye on your buddies out there. It's family, it's even others. Just there's always someone there to can celebrate positively with you.
Yeah, I think all of us have got friends and family who, you know, perhaps are in a bit of a dark place or have hard times in life. I think that's a really valid point around extending the invite when you're having a win. Extend a hand and make a phone call and share that out with them, right? Because we're all going to have hard days, and it can be hard to reach out in your hard times, right? And if you've got something to share, and we're not talking about gloating or, you know, trumpeting from the top of the ivory tower, but when you've hit a personal or a group milestone or a family milestone of some kind, that's a really great time to reach out to people you might not have heard from for a while. You know, we covered a lot of that mental health stuff during previous month, but it remains relevant. And people are out there having a hard time. Sometimes you can lose that visibility that goals can be achieved. You know, people can be in those dark places where it's all very difficult. And just letting them know that, and it doesn't have to be massive. It could be a fitness goal. It could be you stuck to a resolution you gave yourself. You hit, I'm not gonna do X for a month, and you get to the end of the month and you're like, fucking, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very relevant, Simon. Thanks for that. There was some comments that you were making earlier, Mike. Both of you guys were talking just before we kicked this off around the appeal that a team might have, or a family might have, or a group might have when they do engage in this public celebration of success. Maybe Simon, you can express there about just, you're in a team, like I've been in plenty of teams where there hasn't been this kind of celebration, and you can then see another team, another work group, another sporting team that do engage in this kind of celebration. And it can leave you feeling like you want to join, right?
100%. You look across the hangar, the workspace, your debt, and you see, of the successes, and you see them celebrating positively, and you want a bit of that. It's, as we said up earlier on in the podcast, that kind of positive sharing and celebration, and providing that recognition to the people who have influenced, shaped, or helped your team, or the individuals within the team. That's powerful. That's and it takes a good leader to really, as we touched on earlier as well, to really kind of harness that, recognize that, and measure that out in appropriate measure to get the best out of your team. I've been on both sides, and I'm sure we could all say hands down we'd all know the side we want to be on.
Yeah, and the thing is, some of this stuff, like just a little bit of public praise, somewhere, a little celebration, it doesn't have to cost much. We're not talking about financial rewards for people. It can be as simple as standing up in front of the group and just saying, "Hey guys, we hit the sales target," or we've qualified for the friggin' semi-finals in the rugby season. Or, telling the kids, "Hey guys, you both got some great grades here at the midterm," and just taking that little moment to talk publicly, because there's that old 2x2 grid of praise and criticism, and in public or in private. And public praise is worth like 10 times as much as private praise. Like letting people know that you think they've done a good job in front of their peers, superiors, and subordinates is like a massive force multiplier for that one little pat on the back. And, likewise, keep the criticism behind closed doors unless you want to disembowel the individual and crush their morale. So praise in public and criticize in private costs nothing, costs a few minutes of your day to get a crew together, and you can see the impact, and you can see the flow and effect of morale, and then the attractiveness of that unit or team or whatever it is to other people. You're going to start getting applicants wanting to get in. You're going to have a boosted standard of the members, and these are all things that don't cost much, and we're all in financially limited businesses and government departments and so on. So you're never going to get any money for this stuff, but it doesn't have to be. And the financial stuff does not do the same. It does not have the same impact to the individual as a genuine recognition of something they genuinely did that they know about and you know about, said in front of everyone.
Yeah, and like you said, it doesn't have to be much, but usually it's a one-on-one connection with somebody that they really feel the most appreciated. So I've seen it before where there's a boss in a newer company, and they have somebody that's working for me, and they have three small kids, right? And it's like, hey, I can't go, hey, here's a free vacation, type thing. I appreciate you, but literally it could be something like this. And this is what I heard and what I experienced. Hey, I really appreciate you. I know you've been staying late the last couple weeks and getting a lot of work done and getting us ahead of where we needed to be. And I know you missed a lot at home. So I got you some free movie passes and a dinner certificate for you, your wife, and your 3 children to go out and have dinner and a movie this weekend on me. And I know it's not much, but I just wanted to show you that I really appreciate you. You're one of our best workers. Uh, and hey, I kind of want to celebrate having a person like you on the team, dude. If you don't, if you don't think like that, I'm sorry. And then 2, if you don't appreciate like that or something like that, I'm sorry, because that sometimes that weighs way more than money. Right. And I know money runs the world and everybody needs it, and you work for money to have resources and stuff. But when you're around good people with good hearts and with good mentalities, and they treasure relationships and friendships like that, or whatever the culture, as Simon says, you're in a good culture, man. That's what you want anywhere you go, whether it's at home, at work, or just walking down the road. It's just like, dude, I want to be in a culture where people appreciate the work I do, and in turn, I'm going to appreciate them for appreciating me. It's just like this mutual system.
Yeah.
To get respect, you have to give respect, and it's kind of like that whole back and forth thing. There's no in between. Yeah, and you just can't help it. It's just like, dude, I would work for that guy any day. Like, he really gets it. He gets it. Like, why wouldn't you want to be like that?
Totally agree. Genuine recognition outstrips any venal motivation for a basic human. Yeah, you only have to look to like your environment, the quiet professional environments. Yeah, it's just occasional, timed, appropriate voice of recognition and appreciation. Absolute force multiplier. And foot rubs.
Foot rubs. One of the points that you were just touching on there, and following on from what you said, Mike, it can be that we're all waiting for someone above us to start the acknowledgement cycle. Like, I'm working so hard, and this freaking asshole, how come I'm not getting this pat on the back or some sort of an award? And then, sure as shit, you don't look down and think, well, my kids or the guys I'm coaching in this sporting team, or my team need anything. There's no program of acknowledgement. There's no whatever it is. I mean, like, you don't have. I know you've said this in many podcasts, Mike. Go first. Like, you don't have to wait. And be the one that initiates. So you don't have to sit there waiting for appreciation that's not going to come, especially if you recognize your organization is somewhat stunted in this area. And let's be real, quite a few military and first responder types are going to be better at doing and not necessarily that good at communicating, especially when it comes to emotions. So be first. I know you've said that many times, Mike. Start the acknowledgement flow, and just see what change you can institute in your little world. And like, I think about my kids. Like, I see them now saying some of these positive things to each other that Cheza and I initiated over the years, asking each other how their day went, what was the best part of their day, and thanking each other for stuff. It doesn't have to cost anything, and you don't have to wait for yourself to get the big pat on the back before you start the process. So a couple of the big points we touched on here was Simon talked about establishing a culture of acknowledgement. There's reflection and self-awareness of linking the effort to the reward to set you up for the ongoing challenge that's coming next. Gratitude for yourself and for those who contributed. That you can take a moment when you pause in the acknowledgement of success to then set meaningful goals out in front of you as you move forward. Then there can be that resilience and perseverance piece. We've got positive reinforcement. You can be applying these out into primary relationships, family, sporting teams, or work teams. And there's we even had a quote from Oprah talking about the more you praise and celebrate, the more there is in life to celebrate. So on the back of that, did you have any further points or thoughts that we just wanted to leave the listeners with before we wind up here, Mike?
Yeah, I'd like to do, again, my weekly challenge, man, because these aren't just for you, but this is stuff that I'm sitting here thinking about as we go on. Like, this isn't scripted or anything. These are all just great points brought up by some of my, these two are like friends and mentors to me. So it's making me think as we discuss it. But my challenge for the week, and I wrote it down here for myself, and I'm going to think about it, is the question I would ask is, what or who can you celebrate right now? Like, what was the first thing or the first person that just popped in your head? And it's okay if it's you. It's totally fine. That's a good thing. And then ask yourself these questions after you see that. If you could envision a celebration, what would it be? Who would you want to be there? What would you want to acknowledge? And then when is the best available time in your schedule, right? And you know what? Let's be honest. Maybe it doesn't fit in your schedule, but if it's somebody else that you want to celebrate, you can still celebrate them and you not be there, right? Like, hey, I can still plan this party and I can put all this together for you and all your friends and everybody else or your family or whatever. I don't have to be there, but it still stands like, hey, I thought about you. I cared about you. I wanted to celebrate you, right? So again, just to recap, what or who can you celebrate right now? If you can envision a celebration, what would it be? Who would you want to be there? What would you want to acknowledge? And when is the best available time? I think that's a good little spot to stop and think on. And another great point is, it's always nice to have something to look forward to. I think that keeps us going, of like, something good is coming. You can latch onto it instead of this dark unknown future that we get wound up in sometimes. So this is all good. And take the time, think about that. I'm sure somebody or something popped in your head as you heard that. Really digest that, think on it, and be like, yeah, let's do it, and get out there and make a change in your life or someone else's, and let them know that things are appreciated and celebrate.
Love those challenges, Mike. How about you, Simon? Any final thoughts just before we close?
No, look, I've really enjoyed the podcast tonight with you gentlemen, and I really do appreciate the opportunity to participate. So thank you. I would say, celebrate their successes, be genuine, and share that recognition to the people who matter, be it professionally, personally. It's that positive mindset. It perpetuates, it feeds on itself, and it just gets better and better. But thank you, gents. Have a good night.
So then, great place to finish. Just remember, there's some brain physiology linked in this stuff. The neuroscientists do the research. Those having the reward, having the dopamine, having the serotonin, you can set yourself up to be able to have sustained effort in the future. You can set yourself up to be self-motivated. You can set yourself up to push through those challenges that are inevitably going to come. So just don't keep waiting. Stop, celebrate, make it small, make it big, whatever you need to. And then there was also some excellent points in there from Simon about reaching out to people perhaps in a bit of a darker place and just sharing your good news with them. I think there's always a benefit in reaching your hand out to mates, teammates you maybe have not seen or heard from for a while. So thanks all the listeners for stopping by. I really appreciate your time. If you're getting value from this, please share this out into your network, leave a review, and let us know you have questions and topics for future episodes. Until next week, take care.